wasn't the plan. Don't wanna demand it. I've done what I can. And I never mentioned the times you were rude. And I never mentioned when you hear the truth. Scared to lose it all. I won't stand a chance. And I don't wanna fake it. What if I can't walk away? Got me saying away. Hoping I don't make the same mistake. Same mistake. Hoping I don't make the same mistake. I don't like to leave things unresolved. Maybe it's madness. I'm begging you, please pick up the call. You're causing me damage. I should've known, wasn't your fault. Don't even matter. I wasn't thinking clear, trying to take it there. Scared to lose it all. I won't stand a chance. And I don't wanna fake it. What if I can't walk away? You got me standing in the rain. Hoping I don't make the same mistake. Same mistake. Hoping I don't make the same mistake. I'm just standing in the rain, hoping I don't make the same mistake.
Hand out, she holds. It's feeling like we've been here before. We're both so broke. That's something that'll keep us afloat. Don't walk too slow. We can't keep falling deeper again. Came too close and the taste so far from pure. A rush of blood, but we search for so much more. We've all been here before. We've all been here before. We've all been here before. Hand out, she holds. It's feeling like we've been here before. We're both so broke. That's something that'll keep us afloat. Don't walk too slow. We can't keep falling deeper again. Came too close and the taste so far from pure.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another week of Shenandoah Esports CFGC Tekken 8 edition. Excuse me, my name is Willie. I'm joined here by Kevin. Kevin, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I am very excited to see this match we've got coming up because we've seen MossMan go up against some really tough opponents, but the name of the game in the past couple of weeks has been familiarity. A lot of characters that Moss has been prepping for, getting ready for, and stuff like that. But this time around, it sounds like things are going to be a little different.
Indeed. From what I can tell, the character lineup that we'll be expecting tonight, we have two matches on the table, one a June and the other a Lydia, two characters not very often seen on the stream here, or in general, really, in the Tekken wider fan base. But, you know, I'm interested to see how it'll go tonight. You know, both characters having very, interesting, unique mechanics to just themselves. Like, for example, June being a healer has all the crazy combos that take her own life, and then Lydia being a stance-based character has so many things that we might not even know what we're seeing at first, but as the night goes on, we might just find ourselves getting a better game than we expected.
Yeah, and that's the weird part about Tekken. You got 35 characters in front of you, and while a majority of them you could tell who are definitely your, the high-tier, top-tier level characters that are picked up by a majority of the fan base, these characters aren't, I wouldn't say slept on, but they're not picked up nearly as much for what all they have going on in their kit. It seems like there's enough going for these opponents that it sounds like both of them are in the top 5 of CFGC going into this season, which is very scary, except Moss took out the 5th seat, I believe, 2 weeks ago, which is even crazier to think about. So there's a whole lot of mind game, metagame stuff. It's going to be on Moss to really adapt on his feet type deal.
Absolutely. You know, as we were saying with these characters being more unique and not widely seen, I think it's very interesting to note that they're the top 5 going into this, because you have to wonder how much of that is matchup familiarity, because a game like Tekken, every character is 100, 200 moves.
Yeah.
They all do different things, each have their own use cases, every player has their own playstyle. You know, there's so many ways to express yourself, and in a game like this, where you have characters like June, like Lydia, who might not be as common, but still definitely have the tools to win any game, piloted by people who also might be exceptionally good with that character, and in general, I think it's going to be up to Moss to figure out which of those two it might be.
Yeah, and when you're dealing with a game like Tekken, you look at games across the board where it's League of Legends, every character has 4 abilities. Smash Bros, you got a whole plethora of your moveset, but going on the point of having anywhere between 100 to 200 moves on a character, I feel like it takes a lot longer to get familiar with what all someone can do, but at the same time, I feel like not all of those moves are utilized in any given match.
Absolutely. I can say, for example, that a lot of the time, characters are tending to use probably around 20 or so moves maximum in most games, and others might be for more specific use cases, with a lot of them just being certain strings that might be less good or less optimal than other ones. But, you know, those tools, they tend to share a lot of familiar ideas in the larger fighting game space in Tekken, especially where the good moves will usually be the ones that are fast, that accomplish something the other ones don't, that the player might not be ready for. And I feel especially in a game like Tekken, you're going to have a lot of similar ideas. June, for example, one of her best moves I can imagine would be a good fast opening, a combo starter, kick or something like that comes out fast enough, maybe avoids other attacks. That's the sort of move that you might have sort of a knowledge of already, because you might have fought a different character with a fast attack that you have to get ready for. So the ideas cross over the more you play. However, the character-specific things, for example, Lily might have an attack that's a high, mid, and then you might be fighting, for example, I don't know, Reyna, who does forward, low.
Yeah.
So it's you have to know that side of it, but also generally where to apply those things. For example, if it's a high attack, you can duck it. Some characters have them in some hits of the string, some characters have them in just one move, but things like that are really where the knowledge and the hours of play come into it, where you really start to know these matchups, even the ones that are a little bit less known.
Yeah, and when you're dealing with these sort of situations, not only can you look at the offensive side of things, but it feels like you need to be very aware of when it's your turn in Tekken, where someone goes for their hard-hitting move and you manage to block it. That's great, but who knows how plus or minus they are on that hit. You need to be willing to sort of fall back on your default options and see if you can bring it forward from there, get your damage rolling. For Nina, it's usually a couple of slaps from MossMan, but we'll have to see as we get into game. The Lydia is up first. Wilihelm versus MossMan. Here we go.
Very interesting tell right now is to see how they lead off the game. What will be the play here? MossMan immediately opting for an aggressive option to the double kick, getting the power crush right here, establishing a little bit of an early lead, even getting a throw. We'll see how Lydia tries to respond back here, but right now it's looking like it could go anywhere.
Yeah, MossMan doing a really good job of keeping up this pressure, and again, respecting the turn-based system of this, where you are able to get a little bit of pressure going on your opportunity, but this Lydia is just keeping that damage going, and it's not even up against the wall. You're running parallel with it.
Even now, like, you can see things like these counter hit lows that Moss might not be expecting, but one thing he does expect is an attack immediately to that Rage Art. Very, very risky play from Moss. You know, that sort of thing. If you block it, you immediately die, but right now it's looking like just the opposite as Moss takes round 1.
A very good Rage Art for MossMan to throw out early, which means that now Wilihelm is going to need to respect it going forward, understanding that MossMan is willing to go for this option early on. So as we see Wilihelm get a little bit of damage going, we'll have to see how their game plan goes forward.
You know, something I find really fascinating here, not only are we seeing like these offensive mix-ups from both of these players, like the lows, the mids or whatever, but oh my goodness, the mid parry taking the hit, oh my god. But
I was not ready.
I wasn't either, but as I was saying, like some of these defensive things we're seeing from both of these players, like you were saying, knowing their turn, but also knowing when you can take it. Like, for example, when you can break these throws here, which Lydia doesn't seem to do in that exact moment, but you know, those sort of concepts where it's like you can duck this string, you can sort of hit this part back, sidestep it, whatever. But that sort of thing is coming into play a lot right now as we're seeing so many levels of counterplay already with these attacks we might not have originally seen. Lydia getting a ton of damage off of a stance, both in Rage Art right now. Does that connect? It might go over. It gets blocked right now, punished with the unbreakable grab as we go into round 3. Moss up 2-1.
I'm loving the grab out of the Rage Art. I've seen a lot of players who have started going for something a little bit crazier, trying to get a little creative with their combo enders or just trying to finish rounds off. You don't need to when your opponent's at that health. Just take your guarantee and walk away.
Right now, we're already seeing this Lydia start to adapt a little bit back. As Moss gets a counter hit, I might be eating my own words right now, but we're already starting to see, you know, some of these things like these grabs maybe getting dodged, getting avoided somewhat. But Moss loses the 4th round to a low kick right now. Game 5, both of these players are going to be very tense. We're going to have to see how this goes. Lydia immediately engages Heat right now, has 2 bars on the install. How will this go? Moss answers back with a Heat engager, gets a different throw, immediately engaging a chain grab. There's going to be a ton of damage if Lydia is not able to break this right now, loses all of her white health. Right now, it's looking like Moss's game as he lands a Heat smash, and he gets a perfect KO for Game 5. He's up 1-0.
That was a beautiful Heat smash, and we could say MossMan, he's locked in at the moment. He knows that he got a very solid start for this, and I do believe that with this momentum starting off this way, we're starting to see the game plans both players are going for. This Lydia has been going for a lot of hard-hitting moves, and Moss has been finding his advantage on activating the Heat and keeping that momentum, keeping your advantage going. But this Lydia's advantage is just as strong, so it's going to be on the players who's getting these first hit, as Lydia does just that and gets a solid chunk of Moss's HP.
Right now, Moss seems to be getting hit by a ton of counter hit lows, meaning that he's trying to press a button right now when Lydia has something else to say as she takes this round. Moss might have to keep that in mind, start ducking these, blocking a little bit more on the low side. We'll see if he'll be able to adapt a little bit more with that. Gets a counter hit launcher of his own right now. What's going to be the counter here? Gets a Heat burst. How does he play this? Heat dash. Is he able to break the wall? He isn't. Gets grabbed. That's huge damage right now. A little bit off the wall. Return back to neutral. Sort of get a chain grab. Will Lydia be able to break it this time? She is not.
Man, she really is just taking a lot of these grabs, and while her damage has been enough to really keep up with Moss, I feel like a lot of her game plan could be fixed by just breaking out of these grabs. Otherwise, just those 2 low hits will be enough to take this round.
I mean, as of right now, you can see in the corner, Moss has an 8-win streak. You can see some of the things he's doing that are really working out is just understanding if your opponent doesn't exactly know how to break out of these things, like, for example, catching the power crush right there with the grab. If they don't know how to deal with it, sometimes you just have to keep on doing it, because especially with, like we were talking about, character-specific things, not knowing exactly which buttons you have to press right here. Gets hit by a chain grab to take it. Right now, this matchup unfamiliarity really getting to Lydia instead of Moss. A change of fate, definitely. But right now, as we head into round 4, Lydia starts off with something huge, but right now it's anyone's round.
And we are starting to see just how familiar Moss is with just the Tekken experience. Look at him breaking out of the grab.
as of right now, I mean, you're already starting to see already getting off to the different side, kind of interesting right there when a wall breaks. And no matter how far away you are, you instantly get spawned to the other side immediately right next to it. You know, Lydia right now trying to take a little bit more advantage of Moss not being able to get any finishing blows, I might say, off of this. Gets a mid parry right there. Rage percent, will he be able to use it? Gets a grab, gets it broken immediately. Now such a high pressure situation. I think he pressed, that might be it. Oh my goodness.
Calling out the button again, and this Rage Art should take out Wilihelm.
Definitely will. With that a little bit of extra damage from hitting into him while he takes that, that is absolutely going to take it as Moss goes into this 2-0 right now. Not looking great for Lydia. We'll have to see if he's able to answer back or if Moss is able to continue this pressure that he's so building up right now.
Yeah, I mean, Moss has to be feeling good about that because this player, again, a matchup that he acknowledged to us he doesn't have much experience in, is going so well. Everything's kind of falling into place. It's not over yet. You can play these 5 rounds and it could snowball back into the Lydia's favor, but right now, if I'm Moss, I have to be feeling good.
Absolutely. I mean, why wouldn't you? You're doing all of these things on the fly. You're trying to adapt to all these things. Like we were seeing him get hit by so many less counter throws or like counter hits, either I say on the low, and then just like all the things that we were initially noticing that might have been going wrong are just sort of fixing themselves now. As we head into this next round right now, we're going to have to see if that theme continues.
Yeah, MossMan on the back foot to start things off, using the bounce back and immediately beats a lot of damage.
So that punch right there is something that she has to use her install for, but Moss has the bravery to duck it in that moment. I don't know if he hard read it. He was expecting a low, but regardless, that's amazing counterplay to such a strong option Lydia was hoping to catch Moss off guard with. But right now, as the heat smash gets interrupted and Moss answers back with a quick mid-hit to end it. That's insane right there. Gets an immediate low under it right now. Getting another grab, certainly wasn't expecting that. We're gonna have to see how he plays this right now, but we're already seeing some of these adaptations being made in real time, and it's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, and we do see Wilihelm getting a little bit of damage back while Moss is running out of his heat gauge, probably looking for the reactivation on his get up. Will we see it? No, oh yes, he does use the heat dash, but now the Lydia is in Rage Art mode. She hasn't used it so far, but 2 lows just do a ton of damage and even it out 1-1.
I believe that was actually a counter hit like we were talking about. That sort of same idea is coming back into play right now. Moss going to have to be a lot more careful in the corner, whereas before he might have just been able to throw something out. This Lydia starting to press back buttons of her own, starting to do these things that require a lot more planning from Moss, but right now as we see the counter hit low into the heat burst combo, what will he be able to off this huge gun damage right now? Will he be able to get anything more off of this, or are you going to go back to respecting? We could see either as he gets the heat smash or the heat burst for some positive frames at the moment. Right now, both these players exchanging just these power crushes to try and see who can armor through the first one, but right now it's just taking turns. Right now, both players are raced. Who will be the first one to rip it, but gets the armored power crush, goes through all of those jabs as Moss goes 2-1 right now. The lava's starting to come through. Whoever's able to hit into the floor first here is going to be massive in terms of extending combos. We're going to see who's going to be able to hit that first here. Right now, I don't know. It could be either one.
Yeah, MossMan has been getting so much value out of those power crushes. It's insanity. But we do see Lydia starting to get a little bit of momentum back as we aren't seeing launchers from either side just yet. But the heat reactivation is going to send them launching into the air and a little bit more damage from MossMan.
Right now, Lydia's installed glowing gold. She has it fully loaded. Will she be able to use it? She isn't right now. It goes to waste as Moss takes another round 3-1. As he goes up 3-0, I believe that's a guaranteed win at the very least, but we're going to have to see if these next 2 games, if Lydia has something to answer back with.
Yeah, we do play out all 5 games for the sake of seeding going forward, so we will have to see. Does Lydia have any sort of wacky answers or something to really keep Moss on his toes? Something that they were saving just to get a little bit more momentum back. But these grabs are getting Moss so much value at the moment.
Even then with the timing. Like the timing themselves, like he crouched for a second before doing it just to throw off any potential breakage. That's incredible counterplay right there that we're seeing. But right now, Lydia trying to reestablish something by using a power crush mid stance. What was she able to get here? Moss staying on the ground, reassessing some of his options, hitting back hard. Sometimes that patience is exactly what you need. Ducks the low. Power crush gets broken right there. Punish is the handstand right there. Lydia up a game, but Moss right now is going to have to fight his way back. He wants to keep this win streak going.
We see a jab string right there trying to get the Lydia to duck, but instead a couple of good hits back. MossMan missing the grab, but another jump back into the Lydia's face as Lydia is able to break one of the grabs.
you know, we're already seeing like these grabs being broken. Sometimes you just reset to neutral, but right now Lydia's taking so much advantage off of it, installing the heat off of the hit string immediately, getting a mid parry. So many things that he's doing to throw things right back in Moss's face as he goes up 2-0. Something in the game plan shifted. We can definitely see that. But right now, how much farther will we be able to go, or will Moss be able to counterplay it back? We're going to have to see right now as he leads with another power crush. Gets a launcher off of the can opener. Will this go his way? Right now, misses the heat. Oh no, Side Ukemi is right there. Lydia going to be the one to break the lava floor right now. Gets a huge launcher. This could be massive.
Yeah, look how much damage this Lydia is getting without even having to activate her own heat. MossMan is definitely feeling the pressure, but is getting a decent amount of value back. But the wall splat means that MossMan will go down 3-0 this time around.
Definitely we can tell something's changing, and even right there you can see some of those on-the-fly moments, like the decision to delay that second hit means that the combo counter, you know, scaling gets reset a little bit, so that extra hit does so much more damage. Right now, Lydia leading with an immediate sidestep, something we haven't seen in any of the rounds before. You can see he's trying so hard right now to claw his way back to potentially make this a 3-2 instead of a 4-1. But right now, we'll see if Moss is going to be able to break that out.
Wilihelm is definitely just trying to keep the momentum going. It feels like whatever nerves were there in the first couple of rounds are just gone. Going for the moves, just keeping the pressure going and keeping Nina on the back foot. It's working so well.
You know, I have to imagine if any of that has to do with the fact that he knows that Moss has already taken this set in technicality, but maybe now he's just playing without any of those sort of nerves like we were talking about, aware that whether he wins or loses, the result maybe it'll be the same. So he has the confidence to go for these sorts of things. And right now he's up against the wall and gets a massive mid punch right there. Goes up 2-0 right now. We're seeing the shift. Maybe if this happened earlier in the set, it would have been able to declare a win right now, but we're going to be able to see if Moss is able to claw this back. Breaks another grab, already adapting, gets the heat smash into the double mid. Right now, we're going to have to see if Lydia is able to hit it back with anything. How will we get this started, though?
Yeah, we do see Lydia just really building up this damage. MossMan opting not to jump back into Lydia. Instead, is trying to go for these rolls because the last couple of times, Wilihelm has been doing a really good job of responding in stride to those get-ups, and now it's all falling into her favor as MossMan enters Rage Art territory.
I mean, right now, we're just going to have to see in this last hit situation if this Rage Art would be able to hit. Oh my god, both of them went for it! Moss is going to hit! Oh my goodness! Both players immediately deciding to pull the trigger right there. Super tense, if anything else, but right now, going into this game 4, we're going to have to wonder what else Moss is going to be able to pull out, because that's not the sort of thing you can do, you know, every single time. Next time, I can imagine Lydia's going to be ready to block that. So will he be able to establish a situation where he doesn't even need to worry about that by just mixing him more, or will he keep getting counterplayed with these things like these breaks out of the grabs that'll just force him into a position of maybe losing this game 5? Right now, anything could happen as he gets a counter hit launcher right now. Will he be able to activate the floor break? No, goes for the gun damage instead right now. He's up against the wall, misses the heat smash, gets an immediate mid crush, I think that is. But right now, Lydia immediately having so much white health. You can see that so much potential to be recovered right now as he gets the bounce off the wall. I think that could combo into the Rage Art if he's able to position himself right here. But right now, both these players in Rage territory. This could be a scary situation. He might be able to block this, actually. He is able to get a punishing grab right now. This is not going to kill. Will he be able to kill off the wake-up situation? Lydia ready to block the low. Gets a counter hit. This might actually do it.
Oh my goodness, a very well played approach from Wilihelm on the second half of things. MossMan putting his hands up. He says, all right, I will give you that. I may have walked away a winner, but you definitely locked in on the second half of this.
That's something I really love about playing these sets out fully. You know, if we had only set it to know when he had won those 3 games, when it was officially over that Moss had won, if we'd ended it there, we would not have been able to see any of that sort of counterplay at the very end. And I honestly think that was some of the best I've seen counterplay to like Moss's typical play style, where he just tries to overwhelm you with all of these grabs and these power crushes and these sort of things all at once. But right now, Lydia sort of taking the time that she needs in order to fully understand that is something you can only really see in the situation of something like a game 4 or a game 5. And I'm really happy we were able to see that. Despite Moss coming out victorious, it was a very well-fought battle from both sides.
Yeah, shout out to both players. It was truly a spectacle for us here on the desk, and I hope all of you enjoyed back at home. But I also want to talk a little bit about the adaptation. That's something we talk about a lot on this desk, whether it's for Tekken or just any sort of game we compete in here. It feels like it takes time to really understand when you should be making hard callouts on your opponent. Moss and I had a very nice discussion about the rock, paper, scissors aspect of a fighting game and how some people view that as like, oh, then it's entirely luck-based. There's no strategy behind that. What sort of game plans, what do you do to really force your opponent's hand and get them to almost be predictable in nature with fighting games?
I think the hardest part about that is the element of mix itself, because like going back to the rock, paper, scissors example, maybe to make this a little bit easier to understand, let's say that you're playing against someone and you notice that they are starting every single game by going rock. Now, this could be something that is just, I decided to go rock that time, I just felt like it. Then the next time you notice it, they go rock again. And you have to wonder at that point, okay, is this person going rock every time? Because I've noticed this now. Is this going to be a pattern that we keep seeing in the future? Or is it just, an aspect of that mix-up culture? Because if I just did it on accident, surely I wouldn't do it again. So you must expect me to do it again. So it really is up to the player at that point to decide, okay, do I want to immediately play paper because I know he's going to rock? Or do I think he's mixing me up and instead go something like scissors?
Yeah, and brings this whole other metagame to this side of things where it makes sense for you to go for these sorts of options intentionally, right? If you are the player going rock over and over, if you are aware of that, that adds this whole other metagame to it that just really can shake up your understanding of these matches. So when we saw the first couple of matches of MossMan where both sides, Lydia and Nina, were just going at it and MossMan was able to walk away on top to start things off, it's when the Lydia started to just try these different options, figure out what all fell into place, that it was on MossMan to then try and find the answer, try to adapt, but it's hard to do in that short period of time.
Yeah, and Tekken is not just like a rock, paper, scissors game. It's a game with, honestly, what I'd consider like 30 individual rocks and 50 different kinds of papers, and then maybe each different type of scissors I have to break with a very specific tactic. And those sorts of things, you might have a general idea of what they're going for, what they start doing, but sometimes at the end of the day, it might be on whether or not you play a rock big enough to break the scissors, which, it just adds this whole other level of complexity that is so much fun to analyze from a fighting game perspective, and in any competitive game, but especially something like Tekken, where those options are so clear-cut in terms of how they act, but so varied in how they're actually able to play into each other.
Yeah, well, take risk-reward, for example. Starting things off, the rage art at the very beginning with MossMan just set the precedent. It's a very risky move to just be throwing out to start things off, and yet it paid off. It means that MossMan was available, had that option ready, and is willing to use it, so that adds a whole other dimension to this game. And that's just one example. It just keeps building over and over.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, some wonderful stuff for our first round here. Next up, I believe we're going to be seeing Moss go up against the June for our second and final match of Tekken 8 with CFGC at Shenandoah. But right now, we're going to be taking a short break. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you in a couple of moments.
And we are back with some more Shenandoah CFGC action, watching MossMan compete in Tekken 8 after seeing an amazing performance between him and Wilihelm, who played a amazing Lydia. I am so excited to be back here with Willie to bring more action for the Tekken series. We took a little bit of a break because we got to see who MossMan was going to be up against. The Lydia played the match against MossMan's next opponent, and we got to see this Jun play very well.
I will say it was a little bit of a treat to get a sneak peek of what we're up for right now, but if anything, I think it's going to be a great match. I mean, Jun so far has just been doing some things I really have not seen, like, in general, really. I just don't be seeing Jun a lot, but right now we're in for something very interesting indeed. Right now, immediately starting with such a huge launching kick. Right now, Moss, it feels like he's starting the match at half-life right now.
Oh my goodness, just the damage buildup already. Moss may have some great health, but it won't matter. A perfect out the game for porkchopsan.
I mean, porkchopsan right now sort of establishing a very powerful presence in this game right now. We're going to be able to see if he's able to have a little bit more meat to this game probably, but right now immediately getting another bit of the can opener right now. Moss going to be eating a huge amount of damage for this as Jun activates the heat burst right now. This puts him in red health territory right now. Oh my goodness! Those two were just able to obliterate the health bar like that. That is insane right now. Well, if anything, I can say MossMan is definitely going to need to adapt to some serious movement right now and some actually very, very high-level things right now from this Jun, as she just keeps MossMan in the corner at the start of every single game. It just feels like he can't find his way out as she keeps bombarding him with these kicks, and the lows are just able to hit through these power crushes. She heals her way back up. I think she was trying to actually get herself in perfect territory right there. Very interesting play.
That's crazy. If you're healing yourself back up for the perfect, that is a level of your skill. That's a testament to your knowledge of this game. And I mean, these openings have been amazing. Moss has been put up against the wall so quickly, and the pressure from porkchopsan, the moment they are up against the wall, look at this. It is so hard for MossMan to get out of there.
I mean, it's also worth noting, it doesn't feel like it's happening exactly the same way every single time. It feels like Jun's sort of mixing up just exactly when and how she strikes, but no matter what it is, he always finds a way to convert it back into finding his way back into the wall, whether it just be sort of these side steps or like the power crushes we saw with the heat engager before. Right now, Moss going to be able to get the first real bit of damage on the board right now as he puts Jun at about half-life against the wall. What's his play here? Gets a launcher. Red health territory immediately. Jun activates heat to try and stop it right now. What will she be doing with this? Too little space to actually start a combo right now. What will he be able to do with this right now? Instead, gets a launcher. If he's able to convert this properly, this actually might be it.
Yeah, just look at how much damage it is all building up, and MossMan going for the Rage Art, but it does not connect. But again, I talked about it earlier, you need to be grabbing after those Rage Arts, otherwise you'll have situations like these, and yet the Jun walks out with the win still.
Moments like that, I mean, you just have to try and commit to something, otherwise you just get your offense blocked immediately, and it feels like you're going back to neutral in a situation where you could be winning a game like that. Right now, we're going to have to see how Jun's able to play this. Well, even though we have some of those blunders on their end, we just see right now, Jun is just able to keep this pressure up right now, getting these crazy light beams, the bird coming out with the heat smash right now, gets a mid-launcher, will he be able to go for a low? No, goes for a jab trade. Tick a second 3-0 right now. I believe we might be in for a stage change if I am not mistaken, but right now we're going to have to see a pretty significant stage and mentality change if we're going to see a different side of things right now. This is a very formidable opponent Moss is up against, and we will have to see how he's able to take this one on.
Yeah, we're brought onto a relatively small feeling stage where the walls were close enough that this Jun was able to bring MossMan all the way over and just keep that pressure going all at once. The damage and the combo potential felt so good, but just keeping MossMan there was even more critical. If I'm MossMan, I'm hoping for a stage where it's a little bit more breathing room, or at the very least, you are able to sort of get around your opponent with their setups, as I do believe we are hopping back into game in just a moment. Here we are, as MossMan is at half health to start things off again.
You know, I will say, our stage before was a little bit small, but right now, I can't say this part of it is small, but for the third transformation, that has like a wall at like 90 meters away or something crazy like that. Whoever's able to break the floor first, like MossMan right here with this heat smash right now, still has his tornado on deck. Gets the tornado into the Rage Art right now. This is going to be huge damage as Jun's able to survive this. I think with about 15 to 20% health left. We're going to have Rage Art immediately off rip, but be put in a grounded situation with a lead for a get-up kick. Will he immediately reset to neutral? We'll see how this goes. Get-up kick, as we saw right now, trying to reset it. Moss gets a launcher off of the jab. This might be it if he's able to play his cards right. He is right now. Moss taking his first round of the set in what could be the start of a potential reverse sweep.
Yeah, we do see the June using the heat, getting a bit of a dash going, and immediately breaks the ground.
I can't believe that throw breaks. It felt like it was so minimal in terms of how it was thrown. It felt so gentle, but the glass on the floor had something else to say about it, as Moss right now in a very low health situation and gets kicked right there by another mid hit to put it back to 1-1.
We do see, starting things off again, another kick coming out from the June is going to get MossMan into an awkward spot where he is once again back at the half health spot, and the June just now activates her heat.
You know, we're seeing all of these crazy combos on all these ends, but I have to say, it's really exemplary how amazing this June's defense is. With the exception of this one chain grab, because honestly, I can give it to her. That happens to everybody. But she's done such a great job of avoiding some of these kicks that MossMan is doing and breaking through these grabs, but right now, Moss is able to find his way back into this with a 2-1 right now. We're going to be able to see if he continues that. Tries to sidestep it, homes in on him with a jab right there. Gun attack right there, doing very minimal damage, but the heat engager is just the opposite right now. Still have a glowing yellow health bar from MossMan right now, as June is entering Rage Art territory, what feels like out of nowhere. We're going to be able to see right now if she'll be able to do that right now. Heat is completely offline. Will she be able to reset neutral without it? Goes for a handstand, misses, gets a crazy chain grab off of this, doesn't able to kill off it, maybe a low, but no, instead goes for the mid overhead, take his first game of the season. Or not season, the set, I should say. But right now, it's just feeling like an eternity with how much we're seeing these situations show up where, you know, he's getting hit and all of a sudden it feels like she has so much damage on her and that he has to pick an option immediately. Well, right now, you know, we're having to imagine, what do you do about that? And we're starting to see it right now with a 3-1, but will June be able to readapt? Doesn't get the throw break that time, or the floor break, I should say, but right now we're entering a very interesting situation.
Yeah, look at this floor break, able to keep this damage going, the heat activation going for the more combos, and MossMan is once again at around a third of the health, using the heat activation to get a little bit of that health back, and is able to get the grab, getting a solid chunk of damage and really trying to keep this momentum going. But look at how the pace of this has slowed down between the first two games and this one. It feels like MossMan is trying to space it out as June is hitting a lot of buttons.
She really is, and Moss is able to think of one option in particular that is able to hit that quite well, namely Rage Art to take the first round. You know, if I'm porkchopsan right now, I'm trying to think what are different ways, you know, I can sort of cut this neutral. What are some different ways I can get the sort of meat on the combo, actually going? But, right now, it feels like he's going for all of these different things that he has before that have just been working, but Moss has so many answers that feel like they just came out of nowhere, but if anything, that's just great adaptation.
And that is what we talked about on this desk before, is that you really do need to bring adaptation to another level, especially in this game where it all happens so fast. It's very easy to get lost in it, as this June is just racking up this damage, but it is only 1-1. We could see it fall either way.
I mean, these combos, honestly, porkchopsan is just really cooking with this. It's really incredible to see, but right now, Moss able to answer back with a heat smash that is able to floor break right now. I think he saw his tornado online. He does. Right now, the combo getting extended even more. Not exactly a Rage Art percentage right now, but he's going to be very close as June is able to steal back a hit with a counter hit right there. Will he be able to make something huge happen with this? Healing back so much damage right now. It feels like we're farther than ever from the Rage right now. I say, as we get right back to red, she's at the very end of her rope right now. If Moss is able to get a hit, straight hit like a jab or something, that will take it. I say exactly as it happens right now. Moss one game away from tying this back up.
Yeah, one good slap across the face means that June will go down for now. We do see Moss activating his heat, but two more slaps on the other side means that MossMan is going to be on the back foot for a moment, as this June is able to break out of these grabs and is really keeping MossMan on his toes.
Oh my god, just goes ham with those heat smashes. It's really insane just to see an option like that, but you have to consider the bird being a hitbox too. It's something you always have to keep in mind in this sort of matchup. goes for the
Oh,
low
no.
attack right now, gets hit with a Rage Art instead. A reactionary super on porkchopsan's end right now as we go to a game 5. What an incredible bait from there. As we were seeing, he was just going ham on the controllers before, hitting so many buttons all at the same time. But right now, taking a moment to step back defense, and as Moss tries to catch it with a counter hit low, immediately gets hit with a Rage Art to take it to game 5. Where will this go from here?
Yeah, if MossMan can get this round, that means that he will be able to even out the total rounds in this fighting game. But that means that June needs to keep this momentum going as she gets an amazing combo to start things off, but breaks out of MossMan's grab. And look at the damage from those birds.
Gets a counter hit off of that. That could be it. Gets a mid hit to catch the wake up right there. Moss goes down 3-1 right now, but still has an opportunity to take this game 5. Right now, I have to say, porkchopsan able to sort of re-counter these sort of things, and you have to wonder, at a point, where can you like stop mixing? At what point do you like sort of go back to what you've done before that can work? And I'm seeing some of these beautiful decisions being made where you know exactly when to stop pressing and when to start again. But right now you can see there's so much thought behind everything porkchopsan is doing with these throw breaks immediately going on reaction right now. But Moss, as I say that, is building up quite an advantage for himself right now, preventing June from getting anything started. As I say that right now, gets a little bit of damage. Wall spot right here. Tornado online will be able to break the floor possibly. Might just be able to get a low hit right here to end it. No, goes for just a straight swipe in order to take round 1.
Again, we're starting to see the situation where, while yes, porkchopsan does have the 3 wins, MossMan is playing incredibly aggressive to start things off, going for a jump into a stray hit, potentially getting a little bit more. We can tell that MossMan just wants to keep this damage going.
I mean, right now, you know, some of these combos that June has, they might be like sort of medium in terms of like difficulty-wise, but like in terms of like actually seeing them being performed as well as they are right now, being able to take even some of the damage right there, will he be able to kill with this? I don't know what's going to happen here. Maybe just in the mid-hit right there punishes with that immediately. But, you know, as I was saying, sort of these combos, they're really rare to see in terms of, like, situations like this being executed as well as they are right now with a low hit, immediately calling out, like, the immediate option with a can-can kick right now. We're seeing so many options and so many layers to this gameplay where it feels like the only thing you really have to expect is, like, kick, throw. But right now, no. It's like kick, low kick. Like, hit with the bird. Like, there's so many things she can do that she's just doing so well right now.
Making sure to use everything in your arsenal. And again, when you're dealing with someone who has such familiarity with all these options, the mental stack can get brutal. You don't always have an answer for all of them, or if you do, it's hard to keep them straight. But MossMan is doing his best, getting a good grab to keep things going, but a very good attack from June means that MossMan is already feeling pressure.
Right now against the wall, that's going to take it right there. As Boss goes down 4-1, I should say, to porkchopsan. I have to say, incredible showing from both players. You know, Moss was able to answer back in some of those situations where it felt like there really was nothing he could do. So many things were getting mixed all at the same time. But you see all of these sudden, like these moments, like these throws, like they're not working anymore. Okay, you go for a different sort of launcher. You go for the gun damage where you can. And you just sort of go for these swipes to catch in these moments where it just feels so tough. But, you know, even against that, all of that, porkchopsan was able to pull out the victory. I have to say, big ups to him. That was an amazing match to watch and a great time watching June.
Absolutely. You're dealing with an opponent who started out the gate just racking up the damage and just making sure Moss was feeling the pressure from second 1. It was so much that I do think Moss was just almost taken back to start things off. It took a little bit to get that momentum back where he was able to get around, but when the June was able to close out the series, I think we could tell that it just all felt like it was so hard to come back from, even to get that one more win for the seeding purposes. There's just so much. That player is extremely good, and just the knowledge of the character is amazing.
I mean, that's why we play these sort of games with like so many rounds. Like, it can go up to, I believe, 25 if every single game is game 5, but like every single one of those is an opportunity to learn, to adapt, to figure out what your opponent's doing and see what answers you have. And we saw, like, for example, like the round 1, you remember, was a perfect. Like, the first 2 games were a blowout. But then we see Moss sort of slowly get his bearing back, sort of figure out some counterplay to deal with this. opportunities like that coming in for porkchopsan as well in like the 4th and 5th game. You see all of these moments of back and forth, this conversation between how these players are choosing to use the options they have at their disposal makes it so much fun to watch, even if you've like seen the character before or like think that they always play a certain way. Sometimes you'll just encounter that person who's able to go for these options that you might not have ever thought of before, and it's one of the reasons I love watching this game.
Oh yeah, I mean, any sort of fighting game where you're able to really understand and take in the level of adaptations is just, it's an art form, because you truly get to see where people decide to hone their craft, whether it is sort of the combo potential or it is the sort of creative aspects of dealing with any sort of given situation, using your standard options or going for something unique. Whatever it is, people are very good at finding ways to express themselves in these games, and that always excites me.
It's a wonderful thing to watch. From like I've played Smash for a very long time. I've seen this sort of thing in like some decisions with certain characters, how they decide to move, things like that. But like even in a game what feels like so different, like Tekken, like you're seeing some of these concepts, and like I was wondering for a while, like how is this, like they're so different? But in reality, it's just because like the concepts and like the aspect of like thinking and using your brain and like player expression and how you choose to use these options is really there in like any game where like two people are there. And it's really fascinating because like I've sort of been watching a little bit more of like all these sorts of other competitive games recently, and you're starting to see like these level of mind games and like mix-ups and how these things are being handled in games where there might not be as many or sometimes even more options that are in play, not like Tekken, for example. And it's just really interesting to see on every single aspect, on every side of the coin, how these things play out. And it's a fascinating thing to watch that I hope you guys enjoyed today for CFGC with Tekken 8. My name is Willie. This is Kevin. We will be seeing you next week for some more Tekken 8. Thank you.